to Kravings for Adventures. I'm Karen Ahmed. Today I'm so excited. I have the youngest co-host that I've ever had in the Kravings kitchen. We have the very young and very enterprising Shrobana, who is in our kitchen, and she's going to show us how to make French macaroons. Now, French macaroons has been something on my bucket list for a very long time, but I've been a little scared to try it. But she makes the most amazing macaroons. Now, Shrobana is my friend Soma's daughter. You remember Soma? She did Doi Much a few weeks ago. And her daughter, I've seen on Facebook, is so enterprising, and she's been selling these macaroons. So I invited her and she accepted. She also has a blog called meringue.com. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of this young lady. So welcome to Kravings, Shrobana.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. So tell me all about your blog and what it means. What does meringue even mean?
So it all kind of started like in middle school when I actually started my little cards business under the name Cards by G. So then I would make handmade greeting cards of all sorts of designs, and I would sell them mainly during Christmas, and whatever money I would get, I would donate to St. Jude's. So then I was doing that for a couple years until this year when I started meringue.com, which is my blog. And the name comes from the word meraki, which is a Greek word which means like the expression of like passion and love for art and creativity.
Wow.
So I thought that like that's a really fitting name for the blog because I'm using this blog mainly to express all my passions and what I like to make and do and whatnot. So for my blog, actually, I was starting to make like a recipe for a French cookie box where I was making all sorts of cookies for the box, and macarons was one of them. And my mom was telling me like not to make them because she knows from experience that it's difficult to make, and she's like, you're definitely not going to get it. It took me like a couple times to get it, so I don't even expect you to get it. So then I kind of took that as like a challenge and was like, you know what, maybe I'll prove you wrong. So then I made the macarons that night, and it turned out to be perfect the very first time I made it. So that kind of motivated me to try a couple more times and see which like way I do it is the most like the best way of getting the most perfect macarons. So that's how it all kind of started.
So let me remind everybody, she's only 16 years old. And honestly, kudos to you, girl. If I was that enterprising at that age, at 16, oh my God, I can only imagine. So, you know, I know your mom is very proud of you, but I'm very proud of you too. I've been your mom's friend, at least virtually, for the last 6 years. And I feel like I have been watching you grow up through Facebook, through her pictures. And, you know, I did see when you started your card business, I know your pet name is Gun Gun.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm so proud of, you know, how you've blossomed into such a wonderful, wonderful young lady. So let's learn how to make those macaroons.
Yeah. So the macaron flavor that I'm making today is Mango Tajin, which is like a newer flavor which I came up with a week or two ago. So yeah, so I'll start off by showing you how to make the shells of the macarons first. So in this bowl, I have mixed already 80 grams of almond flour and 85 grams of powdered sugar. And the brands that I use for this are Blue Diamond almond flour.
Okay, can I ask, is almond flour and ground almonds the same?
I think it is the same because this almond flour is just finely sifted, so I'm just guessing that it's ground almonds more sifted. So I use Blue Diamond almond flour, and for the powdered sugar, I just use the King's powdered sugar. And this, by the way, this batch makes only 15 macarons in total.
Okay.
So yeah, so I first start off by measuring and sifting these two ingredients, and it's really important to measure these like very precisely because from the times I've tried, as of now, if you get a couple grams here and there off, then it actually affects the entire like structure and like surface of the macarons. So yeah, so those measurements like have to be pretty precise. And then after this, I go on to measure 50 grams of granulated sugar, which is used in the meringue portion of the shells. And also I have here is 62 grams of egg whites. So
wow, so precise, eh? 62 grams, wow.
Yeah. And it like has to be that amount, otherwise it messes everything up.
Sure, yeah.
So this is egg white, so you would have to separate eggs and not make sure there aren't any shells or any sort of like egg yolk in the mixture.
Have you ever tried using the egg white that comes in a carton? You know, the separated?
I was wondering that, so then I would ask my mom, like, why do we have to go through this trouble of cracking eggs every single time? Yeah. Why can't we just use like the bought egg whites? But she's like, no, it's going to mess it up, so I don't even take a risk with that, and I just make sure to crack the eggs for it. So after this, I actually go on to make the meringue. So I have here my stand mixer, sorry. And in here, I'll pour the 62 grams of the egg whites, and I make sure to get all of it in there. And then I turn it on at medium speed for just like a minute or two. So as it's mixing and it gets a little bit fluffier, I then go ahead and measure out some cream of tartar, and it's specifically 1/4 of a teaspoon. So I'll do that.
I think I never have patience. This is what takes the longest time, right? For the egg whites to get stiff, and I have no patience. And it's same with whipping cream. It takes forever.
Yeah. So then a minute or two later, I go ahead and I add a pinch of salt to it.
Okay.
And I also go ahead and add a little bit of vanilla. And even though this is like a mango macaron, I always have seen that like I should probably add a little bit of vanilla to the shells, because otherwise it kind of tastes bland and doesn't have any sort of flavor. And it just full on tastes like sugar. So then when you add the vanilla, it like gives it some sort of a flavor, which goes with the mango really well. So I add that as well.
Now, do you also, because I know you've been making this for quite a few people and you've been selling them, do you batch up, or do you just do the individual batches each time?
The most batches I've done is 2 batches at once, which gives me around 30 macarons.
Right.
So like for the orders I've been getting, I've been doing in 2 batches. However, for this, I've just been doing 1 batch right now. So.
Okay.
So now I'll go ahead and add in the sugar a tablespoon at a time. So I just let it mix for a couple seconds. This is where I also increase the speed so it's a little bit faster. So at this point, I'm going to add the food coloring. And I use both yellow and orange for the color to be right for the mango one especially. So I add a drop of both.
Let me tell you, when I saw these on Facebook, I was so excited because Tajin is like my favorite spice. And just the thought of having that with the mango is unbelievable.
And now I just let it mix for like a good 5 to 6 minutes until it forms stiff peaks. Until that, I just wait for it to happen. Okay, so after mixing it for a really long time, like around 5 to 6 minutes, it should look something like this and have very stiff peaks, like this.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
Then, at this point, I'll just remove this attachment and just get out all the meringue.
And I think it's probably important to note that it should stay pretty cool as well. Like if your kitchen is warm, you need to be careful, right?
Yeah. And like the bowl is usually pretty cold and the eggs are at room temperature, so it works out pretty well.
Okay.
And like one test that I do to see whether it's done is I put it upside down. If it doesn't fall.
Has it ever flopped on your head?
No, not yet. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and mix in the almond flour and powdered sugar mixture into this. And this is actually a pretty important step because if you overmix or undermix the batter, then the macarons are gonna flop. So I first put half of the mixture in, and I've nicely folded all of the almond flour in here. I would say this would probably be the most tiring part because it requires a lot of mixing. So I'm gonna put the rest of the mixture in.
Making macarons can be very finicky. It is a little bit of trial and error. So everything needs to be just perfect. But don't worry, if it doesn't work out, try again. That's my philosophy. Always try again.
So I keep on mixing it until the batter's pretty, like, I would say it's like a smooth consistency. And you know when it's done when it like forms the 8, which is, it's almost there. So if it doesn't form the 8 figure yet, then you keep mixing it until it does.
Okay. So I know you also have a YouTube channel. Tell everyone how they can find you on YouTube.
You can just search up Marikix, and if it doesn't come up then you can add Shrobana Sengupta to it, which is my name, and then you should probably find it. And the logo is of flowers and it says Marikix on it, so it shouldn't be too hard to spot.
And what kind of videos have you been producing for your channel?
I've been really making all sorts of videos, like card videos, then cooking videos, and like DIY decor videos. So it's all everything that makes it. So like now it mostly forms like the 8, which means that it's pretty ready to pipe on.
Right. It's looking good. That color is amazing.
So then the next step you would do is to move this onto a piping bag, which I've already done right here. So it's ready to pipe.
Awesome.
So then what I have here is a baking sheet with a template already on it, which is really helpful.
Very handy.
So much easier to make even macarons.
So for everyone at home, if you don't have that, it's easy to do a DIY as well. You can just use make the circles and then use a transparent sheet on top of it. Parchment will pretty much see through.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then I'll go ahead and pipe them. So I go from the center out to the outward circle, which I can see already.
And I like that little twist action you do at the end, just so there's no...
That helps like for it to not like keep running onto the other ones.
Who does make better macaroons?
Me. Like, mom's not bad at it, but I'm just better.
I'm sure mom is better at other things.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have the patience.
Like making doi match.
Oh, yeah. Then
That's the end of it.
very last one, you just have to kind of spread it out. So like,
And that's for dad.
Yeah. A little extra for the cook.
Yeah. So then after you're done piping, you have to like slam it onto the table a couple times so that the bubbles move to the top, which I can pop easily afterwards. So you're just going to do this a couple times so you can see like the bubbles come up.
Yeah.
So then in order to get rid of those bubbles, I go in with a toothpick and I actually fill in the bubbles so that when it bakes, the surface would be smooth and not have any holes on it. So after it's done, it'll look like this. and it'll be pretty flat all throughout. And then the next step is to just leave this aside for around 15 to 20 minutes until a skin forms. And what that is like after 20 minutes, when you touch it, nothing should come on your finger. It'll just be a flat film on the top. Okay. And that's when you know that it's ready to bake.
Okay.
So 20 minutes after, so like after 20 minutes, when you check that the film's there, you would put it in the oven to bake at 300 degrees for 20 to 22 minutes. Okay. So after that's, like after it's done baking, it should look something like these.
Wow.
So these were already made before, so they look like that. And now it's time to fill them up. So for the filling, I have made a mango filling already, and what's in it is just very simple. It's just powdered sugar, cream cheese, butter. I have mango extract in it and a little bit of chili powder, so it's not overly sweet.
Amazing. And guys, just so you know, this recipe is also on her YouTube channel, so I'll make sure to link everything. So if you want a more in-depth look into how you make these macarons and the recipe, you can go there to her channel for that recipe.
So to fill them, I go and I just take one in my hand, and I make sure to go on the outside really well, and I just go in the middle and just fill it, and I just gently put it on top.
Oh, yum.
So then I just do all of these like this. So I'll just do a couple just to show how it looks.
So also, if you didn't want to make your own filling, you could use something like Nutella or like something like that as well, like a chocolate spread. Or...
Yeah, so you can definitely pipe out Nutella instead of making a filling as well. I've done that before as well. So, and it tastes equally as good. So.
Amazing.
So after you're done with a lot of these, it's time to like put the tahini on it. So I have a small plate of tahini right here, and all I do to decorate it is just put them all over the sides. So it should look like that.
Yum.
And you basically do that for all of the piped macarons, and you have mango tajin macarons ready. And I recommend afterwards putting them in the refrigerator so that the filling like hardens a bit, and it's also better to eat the texture wise because it won't be too chewy at that point.
Right. And typically how long do they, like how long would that batch stay fresh?
I would say about like 3 to 4 days.
Okay. Beautiful. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. That is absolutely stunning. I'm so excited because I feel like I got like a personal lesson how to make macarons. Thank you so much, Shrobana Sengupta, for joining us on Kravings Food Adventures. I wish you all the luck because you are such an enterprising young lady. And I wish you all the luck. Guys, make sure you're watching out for this girl. Follow her on merricakes.com, on YouTube, on Instagram. She's everywhere. Thank you again for joining me, and take care, guys. Bye.